Welcome to another exciting episode of Achievements, where we shine a spotlight on remarkable individuals who are achieving a greatness in their respective fields. I'm your host Abdul Latif Lanizi and joined by my colleague Fatma Al-Awadi. Good evening, Fatma.
Good evening, Abdul Latif. And yes, dear viewers, as my colleague said, we are the hosts and we will be taking you today on a new journey through this episode, so stay tuned.
Art can be divided into many categories. Some define art as the expression of human creative skills and imagination, which is typically presented in a visual and sound form, such as painting, sculpture, acting, singing, music, and producing works, to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Moreover, in art, there are types that define as major arts, and others as minor art. The three major types of art are painting, sculpture, and architecture. Hence, minor arts are referring to commercial or decorative style art. In our lives today, art has a great impact on each one of us, and we usually practice it every day without noticing. Art is very important because it can communicate information, shape our everyday lives, make a social statement, and be enjoyed for aesthetic beauty. Another major type of art is music. Music is a vocal or instrumental sound combined in such way as to produce beauty of form, harmony, and expression of emotion. Music holds a very important role in our lives. It has the ability to deeply affect mental states and raise our mood. When we need it, it gives us energy and motivation. When we are worried, it can soothe us and encourage us. In other cases, when we are feeling defeated, it can surely re-inspire us. Music is also very powerful and beneficial to the society. It is strong enough to let us connect and influences us in a way that makes us feel fundamentally different from other forms of communication. Many of us might feel that no one understands the feeling a person is going through, except music, because it has the ability to connect with oneself. Moreover, after being able to connect with music, a human can express themselves and find a sense of understanding among peers. Art does not only stop there, it includes many more types. Another major type of art is painting. Painting is the action or skill of using painting, either in a picture or as a decoration. The purpose of painting can be used to communicate ideas and thoughts. It can be used as a tool for self-expression, as a form of therapy, or even as a means to find beauty in life. The art of painting also captures a moment in time, historical events, social ideas, and concepts including political or social commentary. Other than painting can be used as a form of therapy, it has many benefits to the human being. For instance, painting develops our creativity and supports emotional well-being. It also builds our problem-solving skills and improves our memory and concentration. Moreover, painting can develop communication skills and relieve stress while also allow us to practice mindfulness through painting.
Welcome back, our dear viewers. Today we are thrilled to have Dalia Ali, an architect and interdisciplinary designer. Join us, Dalia. Thank you for being here with us at Achievements, and we are so glad to have you and to know more about your passion.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk more about
Welcome.
Thank
So, can you tell us about this multiple project that you have during your journey? And of course, since you started, you have this passion. And can you tell us from the beginning how did you discover this passion?
I've always been somebody who really liked to work with her hands. I've always liked to build and create things for myself. And that's kind of the reason that I went into architecture, was because I used to see architecture students creating models of their projects and taking pictures of them. And I always thought that that was super interesting. And so when I went into architecture, I really enjoyed the part of designing where I would do something with my own hands and myself. And then during lockdown and during COVID, we were stuck at home and everybody was redesigning their spaces. All the furniture spaces were sold out. And I remember thinking, I want to redecorate my room, but I can't find any furniture available. I'm just going to try to make things myself. And at the time, I was watching a lot of TikTok and a lot of videos. And so I figured out different skills from different people. And I decided to build and document and see where it goes from there. And from there, I've been able to work with many different businesses and different disciplines, all under the guise of adaptive reuse and redesigning pieces or products.
So you design residential spaces, and also you design some galleries, and with this gift that you have, and also working with it for multiple years, can you tell us about exactly how do you work between multiple disciplines?
Sure. So my background is in architecture. That's what, and I've been an architect by practice. I worked in many different architectural offices, and I also worked in design spaces as a gallery curator. And those gave me the experience to take architecture and art and put them together. And from there, I also realized, for example, if I'm posting a video online, I have to know how to take pictures of my product. I have to know how to edit the videos of the product that I'm making, or how to film them. And just put it all together. I realized that you have to put architecture, photography, graphic design, art, all of these things together to create a product that is very balanced, I find.
So your philosophy, you choose multiple elements and you try to combine it in one idea, in something that we can see, not something we can also understand, but something you can understand it when you see it.
Exactly.
Something unique, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dalia, also, you began your mission to redefine sustainability as an art form. Can you please tell us how you ensure effective communication between collaborators in a certain project?
Sure. One of the main things is understanding what I want to take away from this project. I really like for the work that I do to have meaning behind it and be as sustainable as possible, whether it's recyclable or whether it's from recycled materials. So I like there to be sort of no end to the product. I like for it to be everlasting, inshallah. And so I like to, what I do is once I receive a project or a brief, I'll understand the deliverables, I'll understand what's required. And from there, I will see what I can do on my end and what I need outside specialties to do. And that's when it just really is a matter of scheduling and communication between all these different people. Usually I'll get the project, I'll start it off myself, and then I'll pass it on to a specialist, and then I'll take it from him and pass it on to the next one. I'll take it from her and pass it on to the next one.
So you supervise the
essentially
whole project?
Essentially, I'm able to supervise because I'm able to plan rigorously before it starts. So just to have a clear breakdown of everything, it helps me supervise easier. But I do like to start and end, if possible, with my own hands and to finish it off myself. But
as an architect, the architecture work is actually to supervise and try to make sure that their vision becomes to life.
Right.
This is actually one of the most, the main idea. But you have this unique philosophy, as I said from before, that you try to take some multiple elements from multiple ideas and aspects, and you try to bring it into design. Can you tell us exactly how do you approach on that?
So if I were to take an example of a project that I would want to build and, for example, post on social media, I would need to start by sketching and drawing it out. That's art. And then I would apply it, draw it out on my computer, make sure that it works structurally. That's sort of from my architectural background. I would need to understand building the project, so I understand how to put materials together, understand the way that materials work together, sewing, furniture, fabric, whatever it is. Photography, I need to take pictures of the final product and make sure that it's presentable. And there we go.
This is actually one of your ideas that you had.
That is one of the photos that I took. And this was a very fun project, actually, where I worked with Virgin Mobile here in Kuwait to upcycle their campaign boards into furniture pieces. And that was one of the examples of the chairs that we made from it.
Exactly. And this is actually one of the, from the ideas that you try to aspire, you have your passion, creativity inside your heart, you try to make it alive. And this is actually, what magical about it is when you succeed and you say, okay, this is exactly what I imagined it to be, and then I make it.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good feeling that you have when you achieve it.
Yes, right? It's a great feeling. It's a struggle to get there, but then once you do, it's worth every moment.
Oh, exactly. Speaking of struggles, can you please share with the dear viewers a project or an example of a project where you encountered challenges and how you overcame them?
Honestly, I encounter challenges in every project that I take. I'm comfortable in that because everything that I do is new and to me innovative. And so with every project comes a challenge that I didn't see coming, something I don't know how to handle or navigate, and it's all about pushing through and overcoming it. And then once I've overcome it and I know how to navigate it for the next project, when the next one comes along, I'm able to solve that problem. But now I have a new one and I have to learn how to navigate it and struggle with it, and it's an everlasting cycle. So I'm constantly faced with challenges, but I'm really grateful for these challenges because they teach me so much, and the way that I design now is different from a year ago just because of overcoming all these different obstacles that came in my way.
So what I understand is that you have to be creative not only in projects but also in solving problems and challenges. It takes creativity because, as you mentioned, it's a challenge. Every other project you have to come up with new solutions.
Improves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also improves your skills with these challenges, because every time you pass
That's
a challenge,
inspiring, actually. That's amazing.
Yeah. So also, when you do some practice, and how do you incorporate that you practice with your technology and also from your ideas and try to make it alive into your architectural design?
Honestly, the way that I see it, it's more about how to apply architecture into smaller designs, because architecture is such a great practice, and there's so many different things to take from it. And so for me, I try to shift my perspective and instead take everything that I've learned from architecture and apply that towards something that's smaller, a smaller product or a smaller space, because it forces you to create something that's more intentional, more detailed, using all the knowledge that you got from the greater discipline. The way that I see it, or design, is sort of like a funnel. You have all these different ideas, these big technologies, this research that so many people have done for years before, and it all comes together through a funnel, and it comes to create something that's so streamlined and so simple. So it's all about taking from the big, for me, and applying it towards the small.
Okay.
Oh, good answer, actually.
Yes, yes, actually, which brings us to our next question. Are there any innovative techniques that you've borrowed from other fields and you've integrated into your architectural work?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much innovative, but what I try to do is understand the guidelines of different disciplines and apply them towards other disciplines. So for example, applying the guidelines of photography towards architecture, or applying the scale and dimension that I learned from architecture towards furniture design. You have the golden ratio in photography. You can apply that towards a chair, or you can apply it towards a space. And even though it is a photography rule, it works in so many other different disciplines. And so that's what I sort of try to do. I try to break down disciplines into guidelines and then apply them around each other to create something that's balanced.
Have you ever wanted to choose or like to take the help from the AI generate the ideas? Because it's actually new and we've seen it, and it has some good ideas, but you told me something that I would love to hear again right now.
So the thing with AI is, as magnificent as a tool as it is, you need to have a human touch at the end of the day. So with AI, you can either have somebody specialized to put in the design requirements, or you can have somebody specialized edit the design requirements that come out of it. But something that goes into AI not by a designer and that comes out and not overlooked by a designer or an architect, there's certain things that can go sort of
in a bad way.
In a bad way, and you don't know how these outcomes can go. So you always kind of want a human element around something that comes out of AI.
Exactly, because it has some great ideas, but it also needs some architectural designs also.
And the human touch.
Yeah,
so
the human touch. It's actually a good way to say it. The human touch it's really you need it for a long time. We actually need it, and I don't think that we ever going to use AI instead of architects, because we need them at the end of the time also.
I agree.
So how do you involve the clients in the decision making and also in the process? Because especially when it comes to the interdisciplinary aspects.
I'm very grateful for the clients that I get, because they have usually an understanding of the kind of work that I do and the way that I do it. So when it comes to client work, it's usually understanding what they're starting with. Usually clients that come to me have something that they want to upcycle, or something that they want to repurpose, or a space that they want to renovate. So it's understanding what they're starting with always, and together through meetings and presentations, we sort of come together to an understanding of what we're ending with, or at least the function of whatever we're ending with is. And then everything in between is kind of my responsibility to bring as seamlessly to life as possible. So with clients, I really like to involve them at the start and understand the end, and then everything in between is sort of where I take charge.
But for me personally, when I need a designer to design something for me, let's say a room that I want it to be in a specific way. Personally, I only tell the designer what I need at the end of the time. Like, let's say I need something modern, or I need something like, let's say, old school, or something natural, you know. But I don't get too much involved in the process because the designer have their own aspects. They have their own ideas that they wanted to bring to life. I mean, they have years of experience.
Yes.
For me personally, I cannot come with like an idea, because what we just saw minutes ago with the chair that you did, it was actually something magical.
It is. And speaking of that, actually, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends that, you know, in the various fields that affect your work?
Exactly.
The internet is my favorite tool. I'm always on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, following different creators, and not just for design, for anything, understanding new technologies, understanding fashion, trends in photography, trends in culinary, food, or in music. All of these things, I think, they help to visualize where our future is headed, where we are as a society, and what kind of trends to follow.
And it's overwhelming. So many different trends, right?
So many, especially now as like the age of TikTok, the trends move so quickly. But I like to start off the year kind of understanding a few key elements, a few bigger trends to hold on to, and then everything in between is sort of editable.
Okay.
Of course, Dalia, we have more questions, but we have a report, so we will continue our show after this report. Stay tuned.
Dalia is an architect that redefines sustainability as an art form. She works on upcycling old furniture and creating ones of her own. She also helps others by offering upscaling and upcycling services on a grander scale for their own space, home, restaurants, and businesses. Moreover, she offers all kinds of design services, including styling and consultation services for anyone looking for advice without a commitment. Dalia also works with other businesses to upcycle their existing pieces and adaptively redesign their space in order to be as sustainable as possible. Dalia also helps others in many soft ways, as she offers her consultations with an open heart, as she is always happy to help others. Moreover, as Dalia mentioned, she divides her work into 3 categories that fit under her ethos of conscious and adaptive design. For instance, these categories are her personal work, the collaborative content creation, and lastly, spatial and client work. Dalia's personal work includes any art for furniture upcycles that she makes for her personal use. In addition, this is where Dalia challenges herself and allows herself to take more risks. The second category is collaborative and content creation, and this is where Dalia works with businesses to upcycle their products or feature them in her content. The last category is spatial and client work, which most of the work falls under this category. This is where Dalia designs special design, furniture design, installs art, styles, and consults. Dalia, this is certainly a unique service and technique that you provide. We wish you continued success in the future with the things you love doing the most.
Welcome back, our dear viewers, as we continue our interview with our dear guest, Dalia Ali. Can you tell us, Dalia, exactly how do you focus on your work with the 3 categories, and can you tell us exactly about it?
Sure. So I like to divide my work into 3 different categories. I like to do personal work, which is where I would do social media work or upcycle products or furniture that's for my own personal use to post on my own social media platforms. And this is sort of where I take the most risks. I allow myself to have more fun with it because at the end of the day, I'm my own client. And then for the second category, it's collaborative content creation. Usually I'll work with businesses to either upcycle their products or feature their products in my own videos or content. And then my final category is spatial design, and usually that's where I'll do architectural design, interior, furniture design, product design. I'll work with clients to renovate their spaces or their products or their furniture. And I try to keep this category as sustainable as possible, where possible, because it's not always something that I'm able to do. But yeah, so it's sort of personal content and spatial and architectural.
Wow, I love when she said, I'm my own client.
Yeah.
That's where you get the judgment from your own perspective
Right.
to your own work.
She can be her own criticism.
Yes, and
Yeah.
your own guide. Actually, this is going to be a question for everyone, but also a question for me. Now, I'm in the process of building our house, inshallah, and I want to know how do you balance in architecture or in design, how do you balance the aesthetic part and the functional part and the practical part
That's
in
a good
design?
question. I strongly believe that something is aesthetic when it's functional. I really believe that. So I think it's all about understanding your needs and requirements and designing something that works as functionally as possible for those and adding aesthetic touches throughout, but focusing more on the function, in my opinion, because to me, when something is fully functional, it's beautiful. So I like to focus on function, add some aesthetic touches throughout the project, and ensure that there's sort of a marriage between aesthetics and functionality at the end.
I would agree with this totally, because I'm all about minimalism. And I know it was a trend, it is a trend, you know, I'm never going to get tired of it. But it is because it's functional, that's why it's pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also for a long time, we actually seen some design, a lot of people want to do, they have their own vision with their designing, but also we've seen a lot of people also get across with the architecture design, their design, because we need someone in between to get that balance.
Right.
But for a long time, also here, especially here in Kuwait, when it comes to houses, most of the houses look familiar.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, when it comes to my house, I want these modern houses that full of like a wall of glass. You know, I can see the view, the sun. We have a wonderful sun here in Kuwait.
Yes.
You know, but a little bit of shadowing on the wind, on the glass, because
Exactly.
because it's really burning
Yeah.
hot, especially in summer. So also, can you tell us exactly how do you share the insights when you learn the valuable lessons from the different fields, also with the technology?
Sure. There's many different aspects where I was able to do something like that. I when it comes to furniture design, for example, or product design, one of my biggest accomplishments was understanding materiality and learning about different materials. So in an example where I had to turn these thin panels of wood into chairs, I was able to look into the materials, look into how they operate with each other, how they hold structurally, and take those elements and turn them into something that works as a chair. And I felt really you feel this pride in your work, because you're seeing all the different disciplines and all the different elements that it took to give you this one simple item at the end.
Okay.
That's actually a good thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
and speaking of such, could you please tell us and our dear viewers the process of assembling and managing the interdisciplinary project?
Sure. So like I said before, it starts off with a sketch, it starts off with computer design, and then it turns into understanding materials. That's one of the most important things for me, because I also like for my end products to speak for themselves when it comes to material and texture. I like for them to be whatever material that they were or whatever final texture that they had. I like for that to be available at the end. So I really need to learn about materials, and then I'll come up with a plan. Sometimes I'll just envision something crazy and I'll convince myself that it's possible.
But that's creativity. You know, I heard that before. Crazy is creativity. Yes.
Yes, I like that. That's true. You think of something that's outside of the norms and you have to figure out a way to bring it to life, because you haven't seen it before. So you don't really know what to do when it comes to it. So it's figuring all of that out, and then I'll cut pieces if I need to, or spray paint whatever I need to spray paint, paint whatever I need to paint, and then in the end get a final product that I hope works.
So can you tell us exactly how do you balance between your with your clients' goals aligns with your, of course, with your interdisciplinary aspects, especially when you're planning on the work, because you have your ideas, you have your work on your mind, you're trying to put it, but sometimes it comes across with the clients, as I mentioned from before. How do you solve this issue when it comes to it?
Like I said before, I'm very grateful that my clientele have such a great understanding of sustainable design and of the kind of work that I do. So Usually the difficulty can come from maybe including different specialists or different specialties in a project, but with clients I'm always, based on my previous experience, I'm very lucky to have clients that there's a really clear understanding between us of the kind of work that I'm going to do.
It actually depends on you, because it depends on from the architecture, because for a long time we have clients always try to put and force their ideas, and the architect knows more that this idea, when it comes to vision, to real life, it will be bad. So, and when it comes to be bad, they will blame you at the end. They will say, no, you didn't do it as we mentioned, and it was exactly as
Dear
they
designer,
mentioned.
I have a word with it.
Exactly, because for a long time we've seen it. So this actually comes a little bit of an issue. Did it happen to you from before?
It happened to me more in my architectural experience, in previous experience with where I was focused more on architecture. But now with the work that I do on social media and the sort of upcycling of products, they come to me knowing that they want products upcycled. So it's a really clear path from A to Z. And then there's also I like to be as clear as possible from the beginning. That's a really important thing for me.
Okay.
From step one, it's really important that everything is super clear and laid out so that there's no surprises at the end. So it helps for a really easy process or delivery.
Wow. And speaking of communicating, now part of your job is to communicate with the people on your team. How do you ensure, or what is your strategy that everyone is on the same page?
This
it's really important idea, yeah.
Yes. And this is about management skill, right?
Yeah, it is. So I do most of my work on my own. I like to do most things independently. I bring in a team of specialists. There's certain specialists that I'm comfortable with their work and I'm comfortable with them. And so when a project is necessary, I bring them in. And it took a long time to find the kind of people whose vision aligns with my vision. So there was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of people whose work was great, but it just didn't align exactly with what I was trying to do. So I'm, again, lucky that I found the kind of people whose vision aligns with mine, and we can work together and actually bring an outcome. But the majority comes in-house from me.
Wow.
So can you tell us exactly how do you manage the potential challenges of coordinating interdisciplinary work within the project's budget?
Within the budget, so I try as much as I can to bring a project to life within the client's budget. So I like to work within a budget. That helps me also stay focused, and it helps me overcome certain challenges. And I like challenges. I think they force me to think outside the box and be more creative in the work that I do. So I like to work within a budget, and then it's sort of just about breaking it down, understanding what I can do on my end, the cost of the materials, for example, and then what other specialties are necessary, which ones can be ignored, which ones can be negotiated. And from there, you just sort of put it all together and try to make something that
Exactly.
works.
So can you tell us exactly, in our show and here in Achievements, we don't only talk about the field the passion that you have during your journey, we also get a little bit personal. So can you tell us exactly how the family support within your passion, within the field that you are in right now?
Sure. My family, I'm very lucky. My family is very supportive of the work that I do. Initially, I was working in an architectural office prior, and so when I told them that I was resigning to do my own thing, there was a bit of pushback, like you don't have another job aligned, you're gonna quit and do nothing. And so once we got over that discussion, it became easy because I have, alhamdulillah, I have great success so far, and I'm able to showcase the outcome of the work that I do for my parents and my family, and so they're super supportive and they get so excited every time I post a new video, and they always send it or post it and share it to each other, so it's really exciting.
Wow. Of course, at the beginning they were a little bit afraid of the future, but at the end they're your family and they have your support.
Yes, yes, and of course in interdisciplinary architecture and projects with multiple disciplines, how do you mitigate potential risks that might arise?
Honestly, I'm not always able to do that. The thing is, like I mentioned before, I'm always facing a new challenge.
Yes.
So all I can do is try to apply the lessons I've learned from my previous challenges towards a project.
Yes.
But there's always going to be something new that comes up, and I'm okay with that, and I'm comfortable with it, because I'm always trying to do something new. So there was always going to be new challenges.
Of course, Dalia, our episode had come to an end, unfortunately. There are actually more questions I would love to know about it, but inshallah, at the next time when you achieve more and more of your goals. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being here with us at Achievement. Thank you for sharing with us your incredible story. Your dedication to architect is actually phenomenal.
Thank you so
we would
much.
love to have you more and more, and thank you for everything.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you very
It's an
much,
honor.
Dalia.
Thank you.
To our viewers, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Achievements. We hope Dalia's story has ignited your passion for pursuing your dreams and achieving greatness. Stay tuned for more captivating stories and of accomplishment in our upcoming episodes.
Goodbye.